All right. Good evening, everyone. I want to formally welcome you to our 2025 pre-camp leader webinar for Camp Famous Eagle. Um, as we go throughout tonight, again, just know to utilize that Q&A box if you have questions as we go throughout the agenda tonight, and we'll be happy to answer those questions as we go. So thank you very much for being here with us. First thing, obviously, we want to do some introductions. So, myself, I am Matt Kaufman. I serve as the camping director for the Greater St. Louis Area Council, covering the Scouts BSA and venturing summer programs. Also, get to serve as the ranch director at SBRF during the summer. With us tonight as well, our 2025 camp leadership for Camp Famous Eagle. We've got our camp director, Eric Taylor.
Hello.
And then returning in the program director role for this year is Fried Owen, or Friedrich if he prefers. I always shorten, so.
Yeah, whichever. Thank you, Matt.
Yep. So if you want to take a moment, either screenshot or take a picture of those contacts on the screen, that way you've got them. Before we move on to the next slide, feel free to do so. Again, we're happy to answer any of your questions, whether they come up tonight or afterwards. If something comes to mind, even 5 minutes after we're done tonight, shoot us an email or let us know so that we can answer you in a timely fashion. All right, assuming you have had time to grab that. The next important thing that I want to bring your attention to, if you have not already done so, please take some time, look through the 2025 Leader Guide that was published back in December. That QR code on the screen will take you right to it, or you can find it online through our website at stlbsa.org/camps. Then click over to the Scouts BSA and Venturing page. And that page got a little redesign today, so the leader guides are actually in red buttons on the side of the page to be even easier to find. They also live on the registration page as part of their Black Pug system in the attachments section. There's a lot of helpful resources there as well. But hopefully you have taken some time to read through that leader guide. And then earlier today, you should have received an email with the 2025 program guide that goes into a little bit more detail on some of the extra programs that'll be happening throughout your week of camp that we will talk about later on this evening as well. So share that program guide around. It just hot off the press is getting done tonight. That's a new one for us after some comments last year during all of our camps across the council that just having some more detailed information on some of that. And we didn't want to make the leader guide 100 pages long, so we did it in a separate booklet to coincide with our webinars. All right. Moving forward, we're going to talk first about some important upcoming dates, one of which is just under a month away, being the early bird savings day for all of our camps. So, both on the Cub Scout side and Scouts BSA, venturing any of our summer programs that if you pay in full on or before April 15th, you receive, for our purposes tonight, a $20 discount. That'll be reflected in the system automatically as long as you pay on or before that date. One thing I do want to mention along with that, if you have new scouts, so by new, I mean they joined Scouts BSA on or after February 1st of this year, there is a registrant type in the system where you pick new scout, and then even in parentheses, it says join after February 1st. They will get that lowest rate no matter when they make their payment. They could show up at camp and make that payment, and it's still we hope they don't do it that way. We want it done ahead of time, but they are not subject to those other price changes. We don't want to penalize anyone that is brand new to the program, not getting paid by that April 15th date. So they're going to receive that early bird discount no matter when. The second date you'll see on the screen is the campership application deadline. That will be May 15th. We encourage anyone that might need financial assistance to attend camp to apply for those camperships. They can pay for up to half of the cost of a scout's camping fee for that summer. So make sure that if you have people that need that, that they're taking advantage of it. You can find the campership application on our camping page that I already mentioned through that stlbsa.org/camps. If you scroll down on that page, you'll see a blue bar that says resources. And under that will be a lot of helpful links from promotional flyers to the refund request form to another form we'll talk about in a minute to the campership application and the special dietary form we'll talk about tonight as well. All of that lives under that resources menu and is very easy to find. It also gives them an option when you are filling in information for the individuals to attend camp to check a box in the registration that they're applying for a campership, and it will pop up with a link there as well. So, multiple ways to access that campership application. Then, the last deadline to mention is the May 31st deadline that final payments, we want as many final payments done by that date as possible. There is another $10 increase in fee if not paid by that time. We do a lot of our purchasing ahead of camp. So they definitely, we make plans based on that and people adding in after that, we may have not be able to participate in as many bulk purchases, etc. So having that final payment deadline due there at the end of May is best. Um, our campership program, yes, is only for the Greater St. Louis area scouts attending camp. It's possible that your council might provide something along with that for your council. Sometimes they don't if they're going elsewhere. So, encourage you to talk with your local council about that if you do have something like that happening. Excuse me. And try not to do that very much tonight as we go throughout. Next up, I want to mention the refund policy because there was a change to our policy, kind of explained it out a little bit differently than it had been in the past. And just want to take a moment to explain that to everybody. In the leader's guide, there is a full page that talks about the refund process, and the full policy is listed there. First thing that I do want to say is any unpaid or unassigned youth spots. So if they have not had at least some payment, we published that it was at least $85. If we see it's maybe 50, we're probably going to leave it there. But if they don't have names assigned to them and don't have any payment, our staff is going to go in and just remove those spots from registrations on April 15th. And the reason for that is that we had a large number of individuals dropped off of camp registrations when troops arrived at camp last summer. Well, we plan for the number that's on the registration because, as far as we know, those people are coming to camp. So we're going to go ahead and clear that slate out a little bit with any of those unassigned spots on April 15th. You can still add people back in. Uh, as many as you need, really. We will make room for them as we get into the summer, but we don't want to get to you arriving at camp and then you tell us, well, 10 people aren't coming to camp, that were just blank spots. So we're going to clear those off, but again, you can add back in any that you need to. For the refund policy itself, basically, if you apply for the refund more than 30 days prior to camp, you're going to be eligible for that refund minus a 10% processing fee just to help cover all the charges that we incur as far as credit card processing and nothing is free in the world. So we have a lot of that we have to cover. If they are 30 days or less prior to camp, then they will only be eligible for a refund if they meet the extenuating circumstances that are listed in the policy. So make sure you've looked over that. It can't be something as simple as they change their mind. That's not going to qualify for a refund. Death in the immediate family, illness, required school attendance at a summer camp or summer school, something like that. Those are covered in that extenuating circumstances policy that is in the leader guide. So again, all refunds, no matter when, are subject to that 10% processing fee. If a refund is requested after May 31st, that is only going to be eligible for 75% of the total fee. And again, that's just to cover expenses already incurred throughout our purchasing and lead up to summer camp. All right. We will be covering, there was a question that popped in about adult leader training opportunities. We will talk about that when we get to the program section tonight, and it is covered a little bit in the program guide as well that went out today. So we'll cover that in a little while for you. And another one we talked about we will take care of as well. We mentioned the program guide a couple of times. The link was sent. It is the same one that is on the registration site. That was where the link actually directed to. So if you did not receive that email, it is on the registration page under the attachments and says 2025 Camp Famous Eagle Program Guide. All right. Much more fun than talking about refunds and all of that are the 2025 camp t-shirts. They are available for pre-order now. So if you want to make sure that you get a certain size or your whole troop gets them, whatever it might be, those are available for pre-order online at gatewaytraders.org, where you can also find a whole lot of other merchandise. But one thing about pre-orders, they are due by April 28th. That pre-order window shuts off on April 28th because then we have to place our actual order to get the shirts produced to us and to the camps in time. New this year is an option to have those shirts picked up at camp when you arrive. So pre-ordering in the past, it was always you had to ship it wherever you wanted. If you did the pre-order, that's no longer a thing you have to do. So we will have them at camp packaged and ready for you to pick up in the trading post upon arrival at camp. So you'll see the 2025 version of the Famous Eagle shirt there on the right. And we threw another couple for the ranch on there. We didn't list Swift, but another couple for the ranch so you could see what those are looking like as well for this year. So take advantage of that pre-order and that option to pick up at camp, and we will have them, like I said, all ready for you when you arrive at camp. We'll be there before you. All right, next we're going to talk about registration steps between now and when camp begins. First thing that obviously we kind of talked about, but we want to make sure we want to get all of the numbers as accurate as possible. So that's any youth and adult spots. Add spots as you need them, as you confirm attendees, get those spots added in. If you have a confirmed spot now that needs to be deleted, you can't do so on your side, but we can. And that QR code on the screen is actually a direct link to our deletion request form. Um, so say you put in a couple extra spots that you don't actually need, go ahead and submit that so that we can get those knocked off of your registration now. If no money's been paid or anything like that for those spots, there's no other action needed other than us deleting them. Make sure if you do have someone that has paid money and they're falling off and they're not going to get replaced, that you're submitting a refund request at this time just to get that cleared out as well. Um, the deletions are really quick and easy, and both of those forms, again, on that resources menu under the camps or on the camps page of the website. So another important thing in these steps is making sure that all of the spots that you have names assigned to them so that they're not just sitting there blank spots, getting names assigned to all of those, making sure that you're registering all of your adults, both full-time and part-time, that will be there throughout the week. Full-time registration obviously covers that spot for the entire week. The part-time, they could just pay for days that they're going to be in attendance. And there's a way to fill that in and mark the days with that registrant type in the system so that we know they're only going to be here a certain number of days. That's very helpful and helps you when you just have maybe someone that's coming in at the end of the week to then help transport home or staying after family night, whatever it might be. And then most of you have been getting scouts signed up for classes already, but continue to do that. Make sure they all have a full schedule or as full of a schedule as they want. It's up to you and them to work out what their schedules and activities really look like. And then at least 2 weeks prior to your arrival at camp, any of those dietary allergies or special needs need to be submitted on our um, our special dietary needs form. That is shared with our food service company, and they do their best to accommodate anything that needs to be accommodated. If something is a little too restrictive or they feel that they cannot safely manage that request, they will reach out to the individual and we will work on a plan for them, whatever that might look like. It's rare that that happens, but just want to mention it as a possibility. So again, making sure that you are taking all of those steps between now and camp. Some additional information to also share tonight. One thing that will come your way to typically to the registration contact, so the person that's listed as the main contact in the registration, is what we call our camp program form. So that'll be a week or two, maybe more, before camp begins. And that will be just a general questionnaire. It's a Google form, really simple to fill out, that helps us be better prepared for your arrival at camp. So this will be double checking equipment needs, whether you're using your tents or going to take advantage and use the canvas tents that we have at camp. Um, all kinds of other program options that we ask about in that form. Again, just to make sure that we are prepared to greet you and your entire troop when you arrive. The other thing that we'll talk about briefly, and I'm actually going to let probably Freed cover this one while I take a drink and try to get this frog out of my throat, is just what arrival and check-in look like for you upon arrival at the ranch and Camp Famous Eagle.
Yeah, so when you get to camp, there's kind of like three main things we're going to focus on. So the first one is we just want to get you into your campsite. So when you get there, you're good to go straight to your campsite. We'll have a troop counselor uh, out there ready to meet you whenever you get there. If you're going to be late or anything, if you could just give us a call at our office number, that would be pretty good. Don't arrive until 12:30 though. We won't have anyone out there till 12:30, so you won't know where to go if you don't know where you're going, fun stuff like that. So once you get into your campsite, we'll make sure you have all your tents and everything set up. And then what we'll do is we'll have you, if you're on the power cut, the side of the power cut that is closer to the dining hall, you'll go to the dining hall first and you'll learn how that works. If you're on the lake side of the power cut, you'll go to the swim tests first and get all your swim tests done. Um, Eventually, these two sides will swap, and the other side of camp will be doing swim tests, and we'll rotate through, throughout the day. But that's all Sunday is just you get a tour of camp. Then we want to, make sure you're in your campsite, and then we need you to know how the dining hall works, and then how, get all your swim tests and everything done. In the off chance that we don't get your swim tests or anything like that done, we do them throughout the week as well. We'll do some before merit badges and stuff like that in case they have like an aquatics merit badge they need the swim test for. We'll do them Monday morning, um, kind of as a last minute thing to get anybody else need. So the canvas tents we have, some are on platforms. So let me go ahead and click on. There we go. Some have wooden platforms that are a little raised, and then they have these outriggers on the side, so you don't have to have stakes and stuff like that to hold them up. There's about 12 of those per site. So hypothetically, if we only had those, we'd only have about 24 people a site, and I'm sure there's more people than that in some of your guys' troops. So we also have some floorboard tents. So it's these or these wooden boards, and you set down two of those, and you set up on them the tents over those. Those tend to work pretty well. Um, yeah, so you just have to put those wooden boards underneath. Um, your TCs should be pretty good at setting those up, so they shouldn't be too bad. My recommendation is to give the nice tents to the scouts. Depending on the troop, sometimes they say give the nice tents to the adults. But yeah, so sometimes the tents are set up. It also depends on the week before you. So we like to set up a lot of tents as the summer goes on, and then as uh, the end comes near, we take down tents, and there's less tents on site. So it kind of depends on where you are in the schedule and other things like that. We do accept swim tests before arrival at camp. We actually recommend it. It gives you one less
Yep.
thing to do on Sunday. It makes it a lot smoother.
And I'll
Um,
cover that a little bit more in depth
oh,
here in a
okay.
second, Freed.
Okay.
So that
Yeah, there is a form, and
we'll
Matt will
get that
cover
one.
that.
Yep.
Um, So yeah, I think that's all the questions. Anyone have any other questions?
It looks
So
about
yeah,
right at the
that's
moment. There's
fine.
several on that
Eric,
swim test, and
yeah.
we'll get there.
Eric, do you have anything to add on Sunday check-in or?
We did get a question about what constitutes late. We like to have all of our troops on site and ready to go before 3.
Hmm?
And so if you're going to be arriving at 3 or after 3, that would constitute as late because our check-in process tends to fall between that 12:30 arrival and 3 p.m.
Yep. So it's just the important thing is if you're going to be traveling from a further distance or something like that, letting us know what time to expect you so that we don't have people calling you in a panic that maybe something happened, and two, we just have a troop counselor sitting on the site with twiddling their thumbs waiting on you. We can put them to work elsewhere if that's the case. If you do run into a situation where you think you need to come in the night before your week of camp, reach out to us. We can often make that accommodation work. It's a big property, so we can usually make something work if you have to, if you're traveling from a greater distance. Um, so we can always work with you on that. Just reach out an email and we can work through that with you. Um, all right. So before we get into the rest of the program type stuff here, I am going to one more on the trailer drop off rules that I'll hit. So the trailer when you arrive at camp, that vehicle that's hauling the trailer and the trailer go to the campsite and drop off the trailer. Uh, any other vehicles should not be going back to the site unless, we have a reason like a lot of extra gear in a truck or something. Then we ask that only one vehicle per troop go at a time to that campsite so that we never have the entire roads all flooded and blocked with cars. So the trailer gets dropped off, vehicles all come back out into the parking lots, either the circle drive that is near the dining hall. We have an upper parking lot where vehicles can park as well. And then one kind of back behind like Chambers and Thayer campsite as well that has a trail that comes in to the backside of those sites near Chinook, Chambers, and Thayer. So that should have taken care of that one. All right. Oh, and absolutely. You can always use your own tents if you wish to. That's perfectly fine. There's room. The campsites are large. There's always going to be room to set up. So if you prefer that, that's going to be one of those things on the program form that we send out where if you're going to provide your own, you just let us know on that and we'll know that you don't need all of the extra equipment there on the site at that point. So yeah, that'll be very helpful on that form. So thank you for that question. All right. Uh, Two things, and then I'll talk about swim checks since that is a big question on everyone's mind tonight. First thing, we're going to talk about annual health and medical record. It is well covered in the leader guide, but I want to cover it tonight as well with you. So obviously, the health forms are required for every attendee, and they must be on the official Scouting America annual health and medical record. That's the full name for that. School physicals don't count. They have to be on this form. It's one of the national standards that we have to follow. If you are going to be there for less than 72 hours, you only need parts A and B of that form. If you're there for 72 hours or more, that is when you also need Part C, which is the doctor's examination or physician's examination. There's a few other people that can sign those, and that is all listed on the form on which level of certification someone has to have in order to sign that form. Make sure that you are, oh, sorry, before I cover that part, these also have to be completed within the last 12 months. And for Scouting America's purposes, what that means is, for an example, if you had a physical with the doctor last year on, say, June 15th, that form is good until this year on the last day of June. So they're good for 12 months until, and then through to the end of whatever month that was done in. So if you had one done late enough in the year last year, it may still be good for this summer. So if it was done in July of last year and you're coming in July, it's still going to be okay. But if it's before that month, then you'll have to have it redone. So current within the last 12 months. And then make sure that you're looking at these as a unit before camp. Don't have them show up the day that you're trying to load up and get them to you, and avoid that whenever possible so that you've had a chance to look over these and make sure that they're complete, that everything's filled in where it needs to be. It's just going to make everyone's life a lot easier um, when you arrive at camp. All right. New this year is a parental release form that is going to be for every youth. And let me just pop up all the little talking points here real quick. Whoops, too many. Required for all of the youth that are attending camp. So this is linked on the registration page. It was mentioned in the leader guide and linked there. Essentially, there is a national standard that states for certain activities that parents have to give their approval for their scout to participate in them. So this is our method of making sure that that happens. So you will see this form collected at check-in when you arrive. You can have these done anytime now. So I would suggest taking your next big troop meeting or a summer camp prep meeting, whatever you might and have them all filled out. And then this will cover those scouts for all of the activities that they're going to be doing at any of our camps. So getting those filled out and then collected so that you can turn them in at camp. That way we have a record of it. One great thing about this is in the past we had anyone that does certain shooting activities, if they did like cowboy action shoot or other things, they had to have a separate form signed in order to do those. Well, this covers that as well. So that we included all of that wording in this to cover all of the programs with just the one form. So make sure that you're paying attention to that because it is new for this summer. All right, the big question on a lot of people's mind tonight so far are the pre-camp or swim checks. That's perfectly fine. We strongly encourage you to get that done before you come to camp if you have the means to do so. Um, and we will then be able to take that form, write out the buddy tags as needed for those scouts. So there is a BS or oh, I missed one. There is a Scouting America swim classification record form that is linked on the registration page as of this morning on all of this registration pages for summer camp. We did that because someone on the Camp Llewellyn webinar last night said, "Hey, why don't we do that?" So we did. Um, you need to have that test performed by a qualified lifeguard. Attach their certification. Whoever does that test for you, just have them give you a copy of their cert so that it's there so that our aquatic staff know, okay, this was done on the up and up. Um, that form will get turned in to the aquatics director as part of your check-in process. And just keep in mind, if you do this ahead of time, most often you're going to do this in a pool, and then they come to Famous Eagle and they're swimming in a lake. So the aquatic staff may see a more challenge for a swimmer if they're not comfortable with their swim ability matching what is on that form. They may ask them to complete the swim test there just to be safe and make sure that they are at that right ability group. Some kids and scouts don't they just it doesn't always work the same in a pool for them as it does once they are swimming in a lake instead, even with the kind of surrounded area, the docks and everything where they will be doing that. So let me start. I want to clear out those ones real quick and then see where we stand. Swim checks at time of arrival. Yes, we did that. I accept. Yes. All right. So the lifeguard that performs that test, just any lifeguard certification. It does not have to be the BSA lifeguard program, which was then sunset at the end of the year last year, but American Red Cross, other organizations that may have lifeguard training programs, that's okay as well. I would also extend that really if a adult leader has completed the aquatic supervision swimming, whichever I can't ever remember the exact name of the course, but scouting has those two big aquatics supervision courses. If a leader has done that, that would also work for our purposes as well. All right, let me see where we stand with the questions before we move on, because then we're going to dive more into program after this. So let me get that ready here. All right, so one question that we've got is if you have a link troop, can both trailers stay at the site? Absolutely. That's not a problem. We can get them both, or when you haul them back there, that's fine. The sites will have room. They are most often shared sites anyway, so there's typically more than one trailer on a site in any given week. So that one is easy to do. And if you're interested in knowing if you have other units assigned on the same campsite, you can see that at any point. If you're on the registration page for Camp Famous Eagle, you will see a campsite availability link. If you click that, it runs the report as the current campsite assignments and it'll pop up. It'll show you all of the weeks of camp, but you can see your week as well and see who else is in that site with you. That leads me to a point that is in the leader guide, but I want to mention. So as Freed talked about, there are only so many tent platforms on each site. Each site will be shared almost I think almost every site all summer, unless you're a really large troop or it's a lighter week right at the end of the summer, they're going to be shared with another unit. So keep that in mind when you get there. If you're there before the other unit, don't spread out across the entire site. Take every platform, realize that you might need to share those. If you want that contact information for those individuals, reach out to us and we can help link you up ahead of time to talk about those kind of things among the two troops. Very happy to do that as well if we need to. So, yes, YMCA lifeguards, as long as they're certified lifeguards, they would qualify to do those swim checks ahead of time. That's actually one of the most common ones. Groups will get things worked out with a local Y to take care of that. All right. That one. Yes. So the question on the BSA swimming and water safety, the water safety, that was the name I couldn't think of. So the aquatic supervision, swimming and water safety would qualify for that swim test as well, and if it's not an actual lifeguard, someone that has done that training would also qualify for that. Let me, before I keep just randomly answering questions while trying to talk, I'm going to let Freed and Eric take over here. I'll pull up the first page and let them, whoops, first page, and let them cover what they would like to as far as merit badges go. And then I'll mute myself and then see what other questions I can answer here on the side.
All right, Eric, you want to go?
Again, my name is Eric Taylor. I will be the camp director at Famous Eagle this year. This will be my first year as camp director, but this will be my 13th year on staff. I took a nice 25-year hiatus, and I'm back, and I'm excited to be back as on staff at Famous Eagle. It was the first camp I staffed at when I was 14, when we were still hiring 14-year-olds, and I'm excited to be back. Merit badges. In terms of merit badges in your leader guide, it typically takes up most of the leader guide. The end of the leader guide has all of the merit badges that are offered, the times that they are offered. Also make sure you're careful about the way you have your scouts or the way you sign up your scouts for merit badges, because there are merit badges that require more time. And so some might last for an hour, whereas others might last for an hour and a half. So just be aware of that as you register your scouts, because when you go online and register them, it will block out the time that you've registered for one merit badge. And if it flows over into another merit badge, that will not be a merit badge that's available to be registered for. So just realize that there are some merit badges that require more time than others. And then the way the merit badge program works, it goes from Monday to Thursday, with the intent of merit badge makeup occurring on Friday. We realize that especially some of our older scouts, they want to be a part of the Apex program, but we also have other programs throughout the week that might lead a scout to go do something else. And we encourage that. We want them to take full advantage of the entire program. So merit badge makeup will be available on Friday. Now, merit badge makeup, not merit badge miracle. If they skipped Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's merit badge makeup if they missed something, not everything. So there are no miracles. But remember, we will issue partials. And within our own council and many other councils, there tend to be a merit badge makeup day within your council where you can attempt to make up that merit badge. But again, Friday is for makeup if scouts have missed things here and there, but it's not merit badge miracle, it's merit badge makeup.
I have to say I love that line because I had never heard it put that way, and that is perfect explanation for it. So I am going to real quick ask because I clicked a wrong button. I was going to type a response and I clicked that I was going to answer it live, but I'd rather take that offline conversation. So I don't know if it's Caitlin. I'm having trouble reading Caitlin Smith. If you could resubmit that question that you typed early on, so then I can type you a response to that, that would be great because otherwise I have it just hung up in the middle of nothing that I can do with it at the moment. All right, I'll let you guys continue with Wayfinder.
Eric, do you want me to take this one?
Yes, you tag team that one.
All right. So this is our first year camper program. So our main focus with this is to just get them advanced all the way up to first class. We do what we can, we can't do every requirement for each rank there, but we do knock out a good amount. If you want to know what rank requirements we do, those are available in the leader's guide. But we have a session for Scout and Tenderfoot, we have a session for Scout and Tenderfoot, a session for second class, and then one for first class as well. Yeah, if you want to know more information about when it is, it's in the leader's guide. It's just like a normal uh, merit badge class. You just do rank advancements instead of merit badges. So it's a good program. Uh, yeah, yeah, that's basically it. They do a lot of the basic stuff like knot tying and fire building and stuff like that, all the good skills you need to get up to first class. So, yep, it's good foundation stuff.
Yep. I'll jump in and kind of hit this one for you guys because we haven't had a ton of time to talk about this across all of the camps at the ranch because this is the Apex program in particular is kind of a shared program for older scouts or at least 14 and up. It is a flexible program to allow them to do some different activities that they would not get to do otherwise. There's not an additional fee for it. We are finalizing what that schedule will look like shortly to make sure that it is publicized and out there. One change for this year is that it will mainly be afternoon programming this year. It will be that 2 to 5 time frame instead of all day. We just find that we have enough individuals that have been doing this program that also want to do merit badges that we wanted to free it up a little bit more to have time to do that. That also allows you to have your older scouts more present in the early part of the week, especially in the morning, making sure that your younger scouts might be getting where they need to go. Um, Other things that those senior scouts tend to do at the troop level. So as soon as we have that finalized schedule, it will get publicized to all of you, and we will more than likely also add that in as a option that those scouts could then go in and select which activities they would really like to do ahead of time in their registration if they want to. They won't have to, but we're going to try to make that an option just to give us a rough count ahead of time for what we can expect from them. But again, open for them to do merit badges in the morning or hang out or whatever they want to do at that point. I know when I was a scoutmaster, I had older scouts that we didn't have them do as much because they'd already done a lot of the badges and wanted some downtime when the other scouts were also busy. All right, next up, family night. If you guys want.
Question, you may have answered it
Yep.
when you were going through the Q&A. There was a question about the Apex program being off-site. They may go to climbing or places like that, but they will return to camp. The Ranger program is more of a program where you are off-site. That's a completely different camping experience, but Apex, your scouts come back if they
Yep.
do leave the camp.
Right. Yeah. A lot of the Apex activities end up taking place over at Swift High Adventure Base on the other side of the lake, or at the climbing cliffs or somewhere else, but they're still on the SBRF property and they will always be back overnight. And normally just also in the evenings they'll be there at dinner time and then on unless they have a special program done. Real quick before I let you talk about family night, since Eric mentioned Ranger program, we had a question pop up. So the SBRF Ranger program is one of our council's specialty camps. That is a program that takes place. It actually runs Sunday through Friday evening is when they wrap up each week. It's offered each week that we have Scouts BSA camp at the ranch but it is done uh, separately. It's a separate registration. So it's not registered through summer camp. It is registered for that program directly. Those scouts are with that program the entire week. It is a hiking and backpacking trek across the 5,200 acre scout ranch where they go and they're just gone for the week basically. They hike and camp and do all their food on the trail, do different activities, whether they go climbing or do the ropes courses or do uh, black powder shooting in some far off part of the property. All kinds of different things that they get to do through the week in that ranger program. More information is on our website about that program, as well as information on how to register. If you have older scouts that want to do that program and they're currently registered for traditional Scouts BSA camp, reach out to us. We can transfer that registration over if they want to do that instead of regular camp while they are there at SBARF. So we can definitely do that for you. Scouts who might want to change their merit badges, there's not really a cutoff. Honestly, we can do that, or you can do that in the system almost any time up until your arrival at camp. Plus, if they get there, you get checked in, and they want to make a change, we can still do that day. We just try to get as many of those changes done before dinner time on Sunday as possible, so we can begin printing out the class rosters for all the counselors and have all of that set in place. Um, Typically, what we've been doing with Apex, especially last year, we were able to provide transportation for those scouts over to Swift via a pontoon boat, and then back as well. If there is anything that comes up that a unit might have to help provide transportation to, we can try to get our shuttle to take care of that, or we will let you know well enough in advance that we can help make that happen. If they have already started the class for a merit badge and then want to change, we can do that. They just will need to realize, similar to what Eric said, is depending on when they make that change, they may have missed something that is then more difficult to make up. So just keep that in mind. We will be flexible. We want the scouts to have the best experience and be there doing what they want to do. So we'll work with almost any schedule change that we can, as long as there's room in those classes to make it happen. We will try to take care of that for you. I'm going to save that one till later. All right, so go ahead, guys. Family night.
So family night down at Famous Eagle this year will be Thursday after 5 p.m. And family night, all family members are welcome. We do ask that guests arrive at or 5 p.m. We do not want to fill the roads with cars while scouts are still moving about for program. So at or after 5 p.m. There are no guest meals available. Yes, we are a dining hall camp. But our dining hall numbers of scouts, leaders, and staff are what dictate the meals. And so there are no guest meals available at that time. I do know that a lot of troops tend to bombard the Fredericktown Little Caesars. That's a great place to get pizza. We have lots of pizza that comes in on family night. We highly encourage it. And some troops tend to bow out of meals for that night because families are bringing food down. And that's something that we discuss with our troops. I believe it's a part of their program form when we send that out prior to camp.
Yep.
We do have families come down. We ask that the scouts are the tour guides. They might want to take them to Scoutcraft. They might want to take them to the program areas. That's all great. But we will begin a family night campfire at 8:15 p.m., which will then precede our OA call out ceremony to follow. We typically then, after the OA ceremony, release the parents, and then we release the troops. We know that this tends to be a time of homesickness, so you may want to be crafty about how troops return back to camp. So just be prepared when families do come down. That tends to be a time for homesick scouts to be really anxious about returning home. But obviously, that's the job of the leadership. So how you gird yourselves for that is up to you. But the campfire will be provided by the staff. The staff will also be responsible for the Ole call out ceremony during that time, and then the program will end. We do ask that when the ceremony is over, that families go to their cars and leave. So any of that activity of touring and seeing what the scouts have been doing happen prior to that event.
Sorry, I got reading something else as people were emailing and messaging me. So sorry about that. One more that I will cover and then kind of kick it over to you guys for any other program things. Um, we started this last year and it seemed to go over pretty well with everyone. So we're definitely continuing it. You will find that some classes, especially like basketry, leatherwork, space exploration, wood carving, they have small class fees associated with them. And what that fee covers are the kits that they need to complete for that badge. So instead of having to find a basket, well, two basket kits and a seat weaving kit before attending basketry, when your scouts arrive there, they're going to get that. So they'll get it on Monday, their first class period for that badge, whether it be any of those that take the craft kits. Archery is another one because they have an arrow kit that they have to construct as part of that. So those kits will be distributed to them. They don't have to then get to class on Monday and go, "Oh, I forgot my kit," and then run to a trading post to try to get it or to their tent. They don't waste time this way. We have stuff there for them. They're all brand new kits that we bring in. We just sort out of our warehouse there at the ranch and get it out to the individual um, classes on Monday. So just know that is happening. They don't have to go and buy all those kits ahead of time. We'll take care of providing it for them once they arrive. All right, Freed, Eric, I'm just going to throw up some other things on the screen and whatever you want to talk about, feel free and above and beyond that, because that's the last slide besides, well, staff opportunities and then questions. So feel free to cover any other program items you would like to do.
So open swim and boat that'll take place in the afternoon. It'll be from 3 to 5. So if you guys, if your scouts want to do open swim, just keep that in mind. Your campsite will have assigned times, and this is all in the leader's guide. But half of the camp will have that 3 to 4 slot. The other half of camp will have the 4 to 5 slot. It's just so that not everyone is down there at once. If there's a, we're not going to police that, but it's just kind of nice to have that. So just try and keep that in mind. It's in the leader's guide, who's during what slot. So if your scouts want to have free swim open so they can go use the boats and all that fun stuff, just make sure to plan that into the merit badge schedules. Huck's Cove will have availability for that throughout the week. It fills up really fast, so we'll actually schedule you guys in there before you get to camp. And then once you're at camp, we'll give you your time. If that doesn't work for you guys, we'll move you around. That's one of those things that you'll miss a merit badge for it most likely, but they'll be able to make it up on Friday as long as they only miss one day. Out and about. So those are our evening canoeing program. So
Oh no, Freed froze.
program form. So
There he
sign up
goes.
for it there. What it is you go out with your troop counselor and oh, was it freezing? Oh yeah, there it is.
You're
Sorry, my
good now.
school Wi-Fi is funky. What was the last thing I said?
You said it's your evening canoeing program, and then you came back into
Ah,
program form. So you're doing all right though.
okay, yeah. So yeah, it's our evening canoeing program. It's on the program form. So if you want it, sign up for it there. You go out with your TC and you'll canoe around, watch the sun go down, and then once the sun's down, you canoe back in. So yeah, we also have different evening programs. So the one bad thing that no one likes about Out and Abouts is you miss a lot of the evening programs. So on Monday night is our Open Nature and Scoutcraft. So they kind of sit right next to each other. So they'll kind of get together and throw on a bunch of events, have some fun out there. Then on Tuesday nights we have our STEM and Green Bar. So Green Bar is like our rustic area. We built a little shelter over there. We do our blacksmithing. We've got like a really old crank drill press over there, just a bunch of fun stuff. It's kind of an older scout program. So we'll have them running and doing some stuff Tuesday night. And then as well as STEM, which is like our, science, technology, engineering, and math stuff. So we've got programming and stuff over there. So they usually whip up something with some computers. It's usually pretty fun stuff. So those are just open programs. Then in the late evenings, we usually have some Dungeons and Dragons. We haven't fully fleshed that stuff out yet. I like to get my staff involved with planning a lot of that stuff. So there's more to come as camp shows up. So when you come up to camp, we'll have more stuff for you evening program wise. But then Wednesday is our big aqua carnival. So it's a big event down at Aquatics. Everybody loves Aquatics. It's the most loved area pretty consistently. So we've got a big event down there. There's going to be a lot of competitions. Usually there's prizes to give out and all that other fun stuff. So like I said, there's more evening programs we'll have planned. We haven't flushed those out entirely. But as soon as we do, we'll let you guys know, and you'll definitely know about them once you get to camp. Eric, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I would like to address that word called other. The We do have training available to adult leaders. I know that was one of the questions in the Q&A. We have outdoor skills training. We also have position training available on Wednesdays. And so there will be adult leader training available. I also know that one of our instructors for climbing and rock climbing and rappelling is very interested in providing training. And so once we know what they're capable of providing, we'll let leaders know about that. But I know that Terry Pogue, one of our directors, is very interested in getting a lot of our leaders, especially within our council, trained so that they can utilize the facilities. And so that will hopefully be made available during summer camp as well. At the very least, giving you an opportunity to see what's available on the property. Obviously, there are other places like Llewellyn that has a tower, but we have climbing cliffs, rappelling cliffs, high ropes, and low ropes at SBRF, and we're always excited about leaders getting involved in those because it does make a trip to SBRF possibly in the off season all that more interesting if leadership are trained and able to utilize those facilities.
All right. Move on to the next screen here, Eric, if you want to take this one, and then we will kind of get everyone together and do some more Q&A.
Absolutely. Staff opportunities. We do have quite a few of our staff positions filled, which is great. But we do have some 18-year or older positions still available. And we also at times will be required, depending upon circumstances, hire mid-season as a result of anything that might occur that requires a staff member to leave. And so there are opportunities that we do from time to time hire off of the campsite, but that would also require an application and a interview. But we have 18-year-old positions that include camp commissioners, trading post manager, and dining hall steward currently. So those are 18 plus. Although most of our staff tend to be younger than 18 years old, those positions that are often filled by 15 to 17 are currently filled. But if you have any older scouts that are interested in being a part of staff, yeah, they're aging out, so to speak, but we do have places for those who are 18 years of age or older. And so as you can see on here, you can apply online at stlouisbsa.org camps. And the online application will be something that will then trigger to attempt to make contact and begin the interview process for camp.
Yep. We have a couple other positions available throughout the council as well. Not very many. We're sitting in really good spot here with as far as our camp staff go. So appreciate anyone that you might know to send our way and fill those spots that Eric mentioned. We would appreciate it. So we have come to and about in the right amount of time, I would say, looking at my clock here. Time to just any other additional questions you might have that we have not answered tonight. Again, the conversation does not have to stop tonight. If you have other questions that come to mind afterwards, reach out to us, let us know. One that I saved to answer live here was if medication is required to be refrigerated, is there an option to keep it in the office? So in the camp office, we do have a mini fridge for refrigerated medications that we can keep up. The office is locked, and that is a secure area to be able to keep any medication that has to be refrigerated. We also do have that if it is something that needs to be at that room temperature. If you know Southeast Missouri, it's not always in room temperature that time of year. But a very kind person in 21, when he was camp director at Famous Eagle, gave them a little portable air conditioner so it keeps the office in a better temperature. So it can be kept there. That was me. I'm sorry. Freed noticed. I don't like the heat as much. So that'll be there and available for you if needed. The swim test form, if you look on the registration page, it's in the attachments there, but you can also just type like into Google Scout swim classification form and it will pop up. All right, let's see. Did that. We'll get that one out of there. Did that one. All right, Ashley. Oh, there's not currently any themed dress days other than the evening of the water carnival. Typically, just historically, that is when everyone gets as dolled up in their Hawaiian shirts and things as they want to be while still being scouting appropriate. So that is the only real one that they have for that, as far as theme dressed, would be that Wednesday evening for the Aqua Carnival where they can wear those Hawaiian shirts. They'll often do that to dinner, so skip the field uniform that night, wear Hawaiian stuff, and then party at the aquatics area. We do have a way to safely dispose of needles. I don't remember if we have an actual sharps container at the office there, but we will connect you with our medical director on how to take care of that when at camp if that need is there for you. Oh, the contact slides. Sure. Let me get that real quick and I'll throw that up on the screen for you so that everyone can see it again. Do. Takes me a second. There's a lot of windows I have open right now, as now apparently you can see. All right. Get back.
While Matt's doing that, I just want to address any of
Thank
our
you.
newer leaders or any troops that are going to be new to Famous Eagle. Including Sunday, every morning we do have a leaders meeting to keep everybody abreast of all of what's going to go on that day, anything that needs to be updated for that day, reminders for the day, and an opportunity for leaders to give any feedback on programs or opportunities that their scouts were able to take advantage of. I know that from time to time, leaders do offer an opportunity to help with merit badges that may not necessarily be part of our program. And those would be the types of things that we would talk about, as well as just get everybody on the same page for that day. So if you are new to the experience of coming to one of our camps or a new adult leader, do know that there is that opportunity for all of our adult leadership every morning. And will coffee be available? Oh my goodness, this is Scout Camp. Coffee is available almost 24/7. I'm
Yeah.
not going to say 24/7, but almost 24/7. And it is always available up at the dining hall.
Yeah, in the dining hall there at Famous Eagle, there's a very large coffee pot that is, for one, it brews pretty quickly for as big as it is. So even if it starts to get low or out, we can get it refilled real quick. And the materials to do so are always right there, but the food service staff does a good job of trying to keep up on that throughout the week of camp. Um, so the a question here on wilderness first aid. We don't offer it as part of summer camp, We do have multiple opportunities throughout the year, typically, to complete a wilderness first aid course. I know the next one in the council that's coming up is April 12th at Rhodes France Scout Reservation. Uh, on our council website, if you look under training, there's a whole supplemental part, and one of those options there is a about wilderness first aid, and you can see all of the upcoming courses this year for wilderness first aid training. Um, so you can see that there. Ice is available at any point throughout the week. You can go up to the dining hall, talk to one of our staff, not the guys back in the kitchen doing all the cooking, but we have staff in the dining hall that can help get you ice. We don't charge for it. The easiest way to do that is if you have a cooler that you can bring up there, and we can dump directly into the cooler and you can haul that back to the site. We do have bags, but it is not the most conducive to bagging the ice because we don't have a storage spot for bagged ice. So it has to be bagged as you go. So it's easier to put it directly into coolers for you. It was a good question, Mike. I appreciate that. Um, there's a really good question that I want to answer. I'm going to answer Jeanette's question here in a moment, as you guys can see it, because I have information you don't about that. Um, I'm gonna share stuff for Eric and Freed that they haven't even heard yet. First, someone asked about a leader with mobility issues. So we do not have regular availability of anything to help with that. Depending on campsite location and the amount of assistance needed, we can talk offline about what other options there might be. As far as sometimes we just have to have a vehicle available at a campsite for someone. Other times, we have worked through some other things. So if you have that mobility issue, reach out to the camp leadership so that we can talk through that and determine what best will work for you. Dedicated fishing areas, you can really roam free as far as that goes, as long as you avoid the actual aquatics areas. So, where people might be swimming or getting in and out of boats and the like, where we don't want them getting jammed up with hooks and all kinds of things. And we ask that you kind of avoid, and it's not a great spot anyways, but avoid right by the council ring as well for similar reasons. But really, the rest of the lakefront area is open game for you. It may not always be the most cleared to get to, but definitely able to go. And yes, exactly. The common sense um, goes a long way there.
Yeah, we do
Uh,
ask that you enforce the buddy system, obviously, if scouts are going to be
yes.
having free time going to the lake fishing, we highly encourage it, but common sense and the buddy system.
All right, Mike, you've got all kinds of questions tonight. So I'm going to answer Jeanette's first because I said I would. So is there a place that leaders can go plug in phones, laptops, etc. with internet service? Absolutely. So our leadership hall or the dining hall at Camp Famous Eagle has Wi-Fi there, plenty of spots to plug in. The thing that they don't know about yet that I'm going to tell them is we are working on, and it's not going to be massive, I'll tell you this, but we are working on a small, what we're calling kind of a business center for a corner of Leadership Hall where there will be a couple more private spots where if you are working through the week, you don't just have to drag a table over to the wall as many people have done in the past. So we are working on that between myself and our director of camping and our camp rangers there on what we can make happen that won't stick out like a sore thumb in our pretty dining hall. So we've got some thoughts. So we will definitely have a spot there for you to do that throughout your week. The only time, so Mike has asked in years past, there were specific showers marked off for females. The only time we have had to do that is if it is just getting to the point where they are not able to get into a shower stall. We had that issue like once or twice. It's not been an every week thing and every year thing. Um, we have the one shower house by Backer that has 10 individual restrooms and showers. That as long as people are being respectful of others' time and all, people can get in and out of there just fine. Um, it's more an as needed thing if something does arise where we are realizing we're not meeting the needs of the campers that we may need to address something differently. Good questions tonight. I appreciate
We
that.
also have we also have female leadership showers that are assigned strictly to female leaders and male showers assigned strictly to male leaders. So that's offered as well. But we do ask that, and it usually gets back to us quickly. If there are issues in the showers, that, obviously youth protection, obviously too deep leadership. But if we're having issues with shower times and people just kind of hogging, we may ask leadership to be available, to just make sure that we don't have the showers occupied by the same scouts for hours at a time. Um, but the showers are private at Backer. And do we have another shower house up on the other side?
We do. There was at one point a hope of the one by Thayer getting some interior walls put up to make it instead more private. That has not happened yet, and I don't know if it's still in the plans for the spring. They did that on two of the shower houses in Camp Sakima for the NYLT participants before the courses began last summer. I just don't have an update on whether that's happening at the others yet or not. I do know that doors were constructed to cover the entrances. If you've been going to the ranch for a long time, you know the latrines, the entrance area goes right by a urinal, and then the like seats are more private. However, doors were made and installed on several of them. Enough doors were made for all of the latrines in Gamble and in Famous Eagle. So if those are not all installed yet, they will be in the works to get those doors on before um, the um, the summer. One more question popped in that we'll answer, and then we will more than likely be wrapping up for the evening. So, the guy that came out today did mention the horse rides as additional programming. So, we do have trail rides that are available. They are very limited. Leaders are actually required. If you're sending your a group from your troop, then leaders need to accompany them as well on that horse ride. So yes, there's details in there about weight limit and all about the horses. I say we need bigger horses. They say we need smaller people. So being a bigger person, I disagree, but that's okay. So yes, that is available for leaders to join in with their scouts for the horse rides. All right. To be respectful of everyone's time, we've gone about an hour and 10 minutes. So again, just a reminder, this will get posted on our council website and emailed out to you hopefully tomorrow when we get that all posted. Definitely want to take a moment to just say thank you. Thank you for attending tonight to be better prepared to attend summer camp with your troop. Thank you for all that you do for scouting. Without the volunteers like you, we would have no reason to go play at camp in the summer and host you all there. So definitely appreciate that. And thank you for choosing Camp Famous Eagle at SBRF for your camp this summer. We're looking forward to providing you with a great program and great experience while you're there. So we will simply wrap up at that. And thank you all very much and hope you all have a great night.
Bye.